Hi, welcome to another edition of Enta Wonders. I'm Adam Colazetti, and today we're wondering about crucial accountability. It is the follow-up book to the major bestseller, Crucial Conversations, which I have another video about. Same authors, I think, with one new guy, Joseph Grenny, Al Switzler, Ron McMillan, Kerry Patterson, and David Maxfield. So right on the front here, tools for resolving violated expectations, broken commitments, and bad behavior. So I find that as opposed to the Crucial Conversations, which gets a little more personal, this is more in an organizational context for leadership. So right away, straight out of the gate, I think this was like the one gem that I remembered the best out of all of this, was this idea of escalating concerns, right? So to start off with, you have the content. So you didn't do that thing, kind of mildly annoying. Then there's a pattern. Well, you didn't do that thing 19 out of the 20 times you were supposed to or I asked you. And then the relationship starts to be affected. Well, you didn't do that thing 19 or 20 times, so now I don't trust you, and that is really what we're talking about here today. And I wish I had known this earlier in my career, because I had this exact thing happen to me. So I was talking to a guy who wasn't doing what I asked him, and he kept saying, well, give me an example. And I'd say, well, you didn't do this. And he looked at me like, no big deal, like whatever, that doesn't matter. And I just couldn't find the words, and I wish I had had this. And I would have said, yes, but you didn't do blah, blah, blah. What we're really talking about is the fact that I don't trust that you'll do what I ask you to. And that would have been a way different conversation. So that right away is amazing gem there. One thing we want to be careful of is this thing called fundamental attribution error. And this is a really good one. So this is that when someone does something that you don't like, people tend to assume that contrary thing, that they did it, it's because they're a jerk, right? And that they enjoy being a jerk and treating people poorly. That's what we assume when we see this. And we totally ignore any other potential motivational forces. So other pressures that have caused this person to make this choice, to make this seemingly contrary decision. So we don't give people the benefit of the doubt. So just be conscious of that, especially as a leader. Ask why. Like, hey man, I saw you do that. I didn't think it was very cool, but like, tell me about it, right? And often there's a reason. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Still wasn't cool, but I can understand where you're coming from, right? In any scenario, you can break out people's ability to do something into two things. One, their ability, and two, their motivation to actually do it. So we talk about it on a personal level. People can do it, but do they want to do it, right? You need to kind of understand both. On a social level, is there peer pressure for them to do it, or will they seek help from others if they don't have the ability, right? And then structurally, they use the term carrots and sticks. So do they have the tools available that they need? And then do they also have kind of the structures, the environment, the support? Do they have everything they need to actually do it? And you kind of got to consider all those, the personal, social, structural, on the motivation side and on the ability side. Again, and then when you're talking to people, again, just describe the gap. Very similar to the Crucial Conversations, start with safety. What are we talking about here? Mutual respect or mutual purpose? Like, what is on the line in this conversation? Is it both? Share your path, and that always, of course, starts with facts. Fact is, I asked you to do this on Wednesday at this time, and Friday came and it wasn't done. They can't argue with that, right? And then always end with a question. Tell me about that. Am I wrong to assume that blah, 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 blah? Like, give them the space to engage in the conversation. It's so many times we're having these conversations with our leaders or supervisors, and it's a one-way street, and you don't want that. You want to invite them into the space where they feel safe and you can actually talk about it and find a solution. There's this thing called natural consequences, which I really liked. So explore those. So natural consequences are consequences that will just kind of happen on their own. It's not punishment. Hey, if you don't do this, I will do this. It's like, hey, if you don't do this, I say to my kids, like, if you're not nice to people, they won't want to play with you. That is a natural consequence. So explore those until you hit upon one that the other person values, right? And that is where you're going to have the best connection with them. And then as we get to the end here, effectiveness. So effectiveness is accuracy multiplied by commitment. So this is the really cool thing about a team. So that a solution that is technically inferior but has the full commitment of the team may be and often is more successful than a tactfully better solution that everyone's half-assing. So if your whole team's committed to not the 100% solution, that's okay. It will be more effective because everyone's at least rowing in the same direction. And then successes with your people. So often problems blind the successes. It's like your success is like a flashlight outside during the day when the sun is the problem. So what you want to do is supplement your formal celebration. So at work, you might get a cake, hey, we got this project, whatever. And in the book it recommends 10 times as many informal celebrations as formal celebrations. So, hey, awesome, this is wicked, guys. Let's take a sec and just way to go, Bob. Like, let's, awesome. That kind of stuff. That way your problems don't overshadow your successes. You need to compensate back the other way. And then finally, studies show that the single best predictor of satisfaction with employees and supervision is frequency of interaction. And I 100% believe that. I'll tell you a story. I worked for a company and I'd been there 6 months and I actually saw my supervisor in the hallway and I said, hey, and then he kind of walked by and I had forgotten his name because I hadn't seen him since the day I started. So frequency of interaction, how often you interact, right? Is it at the annual performance review or semi-annual? And interactions doesn't mean just business interactions. Hey, Adam, give me the memo. Did you fill out your TPS report? Hey, Adam, how's it going? What's happening? Can I help you with something? Like, what are you excited about? Like real conversations that land. Frequency of interaction. So there you go. Crucial accountability. How to hold each other accountable and have real conversations that matter. Hope you enjoyed.